Hello, my name is Tolulokwe Adeleru Balogun, or better said in my mother tongue, Ekaro, orúkọ mi ni Tolulokwe Adeleru Balogun, àbí Aya Balogun. Ẹ káàbọ̀ sí ètò yìí.
Amidst, I'm a witmofa, Amone, Naira war, Ejasiri, program, Amonone, Miruwa, blessings, Mosugu. I love it! Orúkọ mi ni blessings, Ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò wa ní Yorùbá. Guys, I'm literally supposed to say young and leaving it in my language, but let me know that I don't know it.
I don't even know what they do everybody, but this one has general language that me and they talk so they say how na day everybody they can't be. Welcome to our show where they do on top television, where they call Jasiri, where we they get better conversation, where they bold and brave.
She needed to clear her.
All right, me tell Christ, me come from Boston and me. Go now you can me balance into me. Mfredu sem musem frusem na funi okay. Abai usebe come for ntero ko badi come back iko kwaibo mini si kanni tang wira isene come back so na ntensene come back we have to put English in it. So ntenko ro dem mo fonte ban treki ko efak. Esi you want to enter okay make anything ko wira isene come back.
What is she saying?
I heard bankere.
Put English in the matter. Donc c'est pour cela qu'on est ici, on parle ici dans les langues, plusieurs langues. Mais aujourd'hui, on parle dans les langues, la langue maternelle. Je ne parle pas des choses paternelles aujourd'hui. C'est pour les choses maternelles. C'est le jour d'aujourd'hui. Je m'appelle Catherine Obiang. Bienvenue sur Jasiri.
Wow. I can speak for it too.
We don't know about what. But honestly, because Catherine actually is feeling like, oh, she can speak many languages. No. Does that actually make her a polyglot?
Yeah, is it
polyglot?
Not like five languages in above.
She cannot. Her father tongue, she cannot speak it.
Actually,
she knows French. Don't touch me, Jazzy. Because even your own, you disgrace all your.
Well, you didn't even speak your language.
I spoke pidgin now.
Speaking of.
Keba fẹ́ kí mi sọ Jẹ̀bú mo lè sọ Jẹ̀bú.
I want to hear it.
So dédé wẹ̀rẹ̀ go wà lórí television ram pé ní Jasiri. Dédé àwọn omidan wo wà lórí table e. Dédé wa ram program.
You have seen you have touched the Lion State. You are
don't try me because this Jazzy she was busy missing. And that one they form. Bongo Jebulu que la course la vie. Aujourd'hui, Pankere they beat everybody on top. It was Jasiri. Oui. At least I know we.
No, really. Have you tried to learn a new language, Sha?
Yeah.
In old age, it is not fun.
I have tried. I failed.
Why? How?
Woefully.
The one I'll pick back up is my Spanish. Coming back to Nigeria,
because
Hola,
when I met you used to,
there was nobody to speak Spanish.
Bobo just Tolu, I'm disappointed.
No, but you know the way Tolu
I speak 3 languages. What's your problem?
What 3 languages?
No,
the way Tolu spoke Yoruba. Oh my God. That's
but Tolu speaks.
I did listen.
Tam actually speaks better Ogbomosho than Yoruba.
Hold on.
It's just like my Ijebu is better than my Yoruba.
Not Yoruba.
It's just like it's
you call it dialect.
It's a dialect.
Yeah.
Which ones are the ones that say Odumi Gangan? Odumi Gangan and Musi and Ilesa. The ones that say instead of sh. You know, I know that I know the
I can also speak in tongues. Does that count?
Oh, no. God. Okay, and on that note, no, you cannot speak in tongues. Blessing. That's our mother tongue. But that might be our father tongue because, of course, if you're a Christian, it is your father's language. So 3 languages. Let's get into the show today.
Anyway, this one, Nigerians.
I need to speak back from Lolo because did you swallow a speaker? These last 3 days.
I don't know. She just
no. I feel victimized.
Guys, my Catherine.
I feel victimized.
Lolo, did you sleep well, really?
I had a fabulous sleep, and that's on period. I don't know what additional information you guys want to get from when somebody goes to bed and wakes up energized.
I asked you, and you said there was
the show.
Yeah.
Yes, I commute.
She said she goes to bed and wake up. It's not only sleep that they do on bed.
I know.
That's your night.
Was your night busy or you know?
How was the weather for you?
Honestly, let's move on to the show because the girls are taking me where I do not know. Nigeria is gradually become a season film because there's a new episode filled with drama, intrigue, comedy, and plot twists every single day. From the ongoing economic hardships to the recent incidents of looting, and there's no denying that Nigerians are facing very, very peculiar and unique challenges.
Peculiar is one of our producers, by the way. On Tuesday, have you seen the news this morning? The Daily Trust hit us with this. The Naira has hit an all-time low. The exchange rate is now at 1,900 Naira to $1 and 2,250 Naira to £1. Some are predicting that it will hit 2,000 Naira to $1 by weekend. I mean, the way it's going, we started with 1.6 this week, and now it's 1.9. So the predictions are quite clear. Jesus.
It's not just the predictions that are clear, it's the trajectory that is clear. And it's a downward. No, the dollar is upward. It's a downward.
Naira, no. You know, for a long time, there's so many things that Naira hasn't done. You know, we have Ijaw people, and Naira needed to swim underwater. You get that?
I said, how did Lola wake up this morning?
She said she's on a roll, so this roll, she will roll herself into the truth of how the night was.
She sang upwards, and then we said, no, it's downwards, and then she...
But in all honesty, guys, 1,009. When I woke up this morning, I saw that headline from the Daily Trust. I was like, there's no way. And I've spoken to a lot of small business owners right now. They don't know what to do.
No. Would you?
No.
I have never in my life, being a Nigerian and living in this country, ever heard, ever seen our currency fall that Ashawo get value past our money.
Wow.
You're too deep.
Oh boy.
No, but you see, everybody, do you know that a friend of mine said they went to a shop to buy something in the morning and they forgot one thing. By the time they went back, it had increased to with like 20,000. Yeah. Because as a business owner, if you do not make your prices fluid, you're not going to be able to buy any new stock.
Yeah.
Because if you bought when dollar was at let's say 1,000 Naira, well, now that is 1.9, you won't be able to buy any stock. And that means, you know that our small businesses have been fueling our economy. It's contributing to the GDP
and even people that are trying to make purchases, right? Some people cannot afford to pay for things at once, so they make part payments.
Yes.
Newsflash: if you're making part payment right now, you're getting a refund because
they're refunding. She's right.
Especially if you're getting hair. And you make part payments.
Tolu, I heard of a guy that went to buy...
They will refund you because the price increases every single second.
Yeah. Blessings, I heard of a guy that went to buy rice 2 weeks ago. They said he bought the rice, he had paid. He went to get...
The guys that trolley.
And the guy said he's no longer selling the rice.
Because it had changed.
He pulled the rice. He said they called him and said the price of the rice had doubled, that he was going to lose. Give the guy back his money.
So guys, if you go to the market and you're buying things, no need to tell the person with the wheelbarrow. Just carry your thing and be going. Because anything can happen in a split of a second.
Yes. And you know, as you talk about anything can happen, because Lola mentioned looting earlier, and when we look at $1 being 1,900 Naira, we also have to really realize what's going on in the country. And we've seen 2 videos of food trucks being looted in Nigeria. Now, one happened in Lagos Island. There was a food truck, no, this is not the Lagos Island one. The one happened in Lagos Island was a truck that was packed with yam. And that video was posted by TikToker at Kema's Collection. And she showed that video with the Lagos Island situation. People were just climbing all over themselves to get to the yam.
Yes.
And that's the video there.
See it.
They completely looted this vehicle. And we know that yam was not parked there as, come and take. No, this is somebody's business. This is somebody's investment. This is somebody's profit that we're seeing go up the dust. And it's because people were looting, absolutely looting. And then the second video that's also been making the rounds happened in the north. We now haven't been able to ascertain exactly where it happened, but it's a video that shows a Dangote truck apparently being looted of palliatives. It shows the people of the community blocking and looting a Dangote trailer until it was empty. Now, we've been saying that Nigeria is boiling from the inside because people are hungry. And I feel that really right now, implosion is inevitable. And Lola has been saying something. Those walls we think we've built as middle class and elite people to, keep out whatever you think you're keeping out.
It's not even
going to climb the wall.
Yes.
They're climbing trucks. It's everything now. I was speaking to somebody yesterday who watches the show, and we've been talking about this a lot. He said his mechanic told him very soon he's going to drop his mechanic work and go on the streets and start snatching phones. But It's OT. That's because you can't say English. This is really a conversation where you know that English does not carry it.
Yes.
OT day, OT joy.
Because their salaries are not increasing.
Did you see another widow? Now it's commonplace to see people fainting on the side of the road.
Yeah.
I saw another person. This one, a man. He just fainted. They said he got off a bus and fainted.
Who knows when the last time he
fainted for like
ate?
30 minutes.
Right.
They were pouring water on him. When he woke up, he said he had not eaten in like a week.
Listen,
you
guys.
could see the man's gaunt eyes, as in his eyes were sunken. They now brought rice and spaghetti.
Yeah.
Tolu, he couldn't even spoon the food. They had to first give him malt to drink in little
And hold
bits.
belly.
Yeah,
Before he can even chew on the rice.
Start first with you give them.
But I need to
something
commend
like
Nigerians.
a malt drink that's a bit heavy to keep them first of all.
I must commend
This is not
Nigerians.
the only
Commend
thing
Nigerians
we're
for what?
talking about.
Because in all these funny situations, I know that there's hardship, but the kindness of Nigerians cannot be overlooked sometimes.
Yes.
I saw, remember that widow zone? As they were feeding her food, they put a plate down and they were collecting like offering.
Yeah.
For you to know that.
To be honest, I won't even fault anybody who says, are you the only one that is suffering? Me too, I've not eaten. So face
You
your
see,
own face.
guys, David Hundeyin said something. He said something about indiscipline, and when with the comments, indiscipline returns to Nigeria when people block the Dangote trailer in the name of palliative, and he said, what is in front of your eyes is a society crumbling into anarchy in the most basic of ways, physical hunger and desperation, leading to disregard for the buying and selling mechanism. People are physically eating the rich, and it is not a lie.
So I want to say one final thing on this, because we saw Senate President Godswill Akpabio. He made a statement, and the video is trending now, that all of these protests we're seeing are sponsored. Sir, all of these protests we're seeing are sponsored. If that is what you want to believe, if that is what is going to make politicians and the president sleep at night, what is coming for all of us? We'll say it's sponsored. It's going to be sponsored by angry Nigerians, frustrated Nigerians, hungry Nigerians, and Nigerians that are fed up. If that's the sponsorship you're talking about, then the protests are sponsored. But if you're talking about political parties, all the protests being sponsored by political parties, I think you're in the wrong position.
Josa, let me just make it quickly clear to you that if Tolu is speaking this big English, that is
Goosebumps right now. I'm irritated.
Yes.
Even we
mad,
that
honestly.
have money to spend, that is even trying. I would like to you. I told you that now I'm rationing water by cup for my children.
So
because I bought
laughing
one
about
water
it,
for
but-
And the truth is,
1,200.
like, if you feel like you have 1 million naira in your account right now, you're just 1 million naira away from poverty. I'm not
Yes.
saying this, but to be honest, you go to the market and you spend 70-something thousand naira, and it's not even more than 2
It's not a
carrier
basket.
bags.
You don't know what
like,
you-
and you're
you don't know
wondering,
what
did
you
something
want.
fall off the
This
road?
thing that Gen Z reporting said is
It's
so
true.
you pick your bags, and I would take the
receipt.
The
Yeah,
receipt.
and I'm counting and
I would
recounting,
check
like,
back
what's
because
going
I feel
on?
as if
Guys,
maybe they
I
stole
went
my
to the
money.
supermarket to shop. You cannot.
Did I not
don't
tell you guys
ask
2
me
weeks
to
ago?
to tell you how much I spent and what I took home.
So let's pause. We're
It's
going to
real,
continue to
guys.
have these conversations because this is what is hurting Nigerians, and we are Nigerians. We can't separate ourselves from what is going on in the country. But we're going to take a break from all of that because today is a special day, hopefully one that can bring some cheer to all of us in the midst of these conversations. Now, taking a break from the economic hardships, we'll be focusing on International Mother Language Day. Are our languages going extinct in favor of those recognized as global languages? How does language preserve identity, and what role does it play in fostering intergenerational learning? Our very special guest coming up will probably have some answers. Jasiri returns after this.
Back to Jasiri. Remember, we're live on our social media platforms. If you're on the move, you can watch us on DSTV channel 422 or on Star Times channel 274. You can still be part of the conversation on X, on Facebook, and on Instagram. Just make sure to use the hashtag Jasiri. That way we'll know that you're watching.
Now let's turn our focus to International Mother Language Day. It's a day to honor the diversity of languages and cultures that enrich our world. The initiative, which originated in Bangladesh, was approved at the 1999 UNESCO General Conference and has been observed throughout the world since 2000. There are over 6,000 languages spoken globally, and Africa is home to around 1/3 of the world's languages, with anywhere between 1,000 to 2,000 languages being spoken on the continent. But according to UNESCO, linguistic diversity is increasingly threatened as more and more languages disappear. Globally, 40% of the population does not have access to an education in a language they speak or understand. But what does that have to do with us? I'm sure our very special guest will have some answers. She's an ace broadcaster, a legend even, author, trainer, producer, events host, and the one and only Bim Bo Ol. No, this is where you can see we're big fans. Yo, you can see we're absolutely big fans.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. It's really great to be here, ladies.
Thank you so much.
I need an autograph.
I'm having goose people. Mommy, I made it.
All right, so I know you have a multicultural upbringing and a background that has really shaped your views on language and education. So I think we should start the conversation from there. Tell us a bit about your background and how that has informed where you stand on issues around language, diversity, and education.
Okay, well, sometimes when people ask me, where do you come from? I say I am West African. And they say, how? Well, my father's mother, that's my grandmother on my father's side, my paternal grandmother was from Senegal. But my father was born in the Gambia. And his father was from Sierra Leone, okay? Then my mother, on her father's side, he was Sierra Leonean, and her mother was partly Nigerian and partly Sierra Leonean. So that is why I say,
Yes, you're West African.
I am sort of West African.
You're the tapestry of West Africa.
But it kind of leaves me hanging, you know, because but then, of course, my mother was born in Nigeria. My father became a naturalized Nigerian. He came to Nigeria when he was about 7 or 8 years old and lived here, you know, until he passed on. I was not born in Nigeria, but my parents are Nigerian, so I'm Nigerian.
There you have it.
No,
Because they were coming at me when we started the show and we were speaking in our lingua franca. What would you now say is your mother tongue, ma'am? Because I like
She's
the
so
history, but
well, growing up in my parents' house, we spoke English. Although my mother, because she was born in the East, my mother could speak Igbo. And she could also speak Yoruba because she came to Lagos when she was about 17 or 18 years old. My father, having grown up in Yoruba land, let me say, could also speak Yoruba, but not very well. But at home, we spoke English. So when I left Nigeria and went abroad to go to school, it was in England and I spoke English. It was not until I came back that I became exposed to the, well, let me say, any Nigerian language, because I was working at the time with the NBC TV, and in a setup like that, you have people from all over the country.
yes, of course.
Okay, so, but living in Lagos, I suppose I began to pick up a little bit of Yoruba. When I tried to speak it, I found myself speaking French. I know it sounds funny, but when I tried to speak, you know, the words that would come into my mind were French words. So at a certain point, I said, do you know what? Stop confusing yourself. You just speak the language that you understand. Then I married a Yoruba man, an Ekiti man for that matter, who let me say, 60 or maybe 70% of the time spoke to me in Yoruba, but I always answered him in English.
Wow. No.
So unfortunately, my children did not really get exposed to the Yoruba language until they went to boarding school.
Okay, so it means there's hope for children who may not hear it at home, but they can eventually learn it.
Yes.
And this thing you pointed out, Catherine, you know, I told you it happens to you and it has happened to me, where you're thinking in one language, it's another language coming out, your senses are getting mixed up, it's just a mess.
You know, and sorry, but that is why we often tell broadcasters, when you're leaving home and you know you're going to work, please don't speak any other language than English if you're broadcasting in English.
Yes.
Because, you know, it messes.
Yoruba has the H factor. Yes, it happened to me one time. I was supposed to go on air, and then I heard people gossiping in Yoruba, and I wanted to be part of it. I wasn't speaking it. I was just listening to it. You know, I was just saying the H,
and then she got on my TV.
as in, and then like, who we are. And then I knew there was a problem. So it happens.
It is not as bad as something that happened many years ago to us. We were in the presentation department, we were gisting, and a particular word came up, and that word was chaos. So we decided to, you know, mess about with that word. And one of the pronunciations that we came up with was chaus. Now, it so happened that one of us was going on air, and
chaos came up.
No, as true as I'm sitting here, the word chaos came up.
She said,
and she opened her mouth and she said, chaus. Everybody said, wow.
Sacrilege. Wow.
Yes. So, you know, it can happen so easily. You just don't think about it. So.
Honestly, you know, when she was just talking about, you know, I'm just blown away because it's very peculiar to some people, maybe in a hard time to have just this all mix. But the challenge we're having in this particular time is that now, many families do not even encourage their children to speak their mother tongue. And in 2100, it was predicted that half of the world's spoken languages would either vanish or be at the brink of extinction. They say charity begins at home, and what about schools? How can we preserve our cultural heritage across generations in this very fast-paced and evolving world that we live in? Like, I'll use my own children as examples. They're part Edo, part Yoruba.
Okay.
Of course, Edo zilt. Nothing. But if you hear much, I make effort to speak Yoruba to them at home, and it's very chaotic. But I'm feeling
chaotic.
that. Oh, chaotic. But we don't come our tongue to change our tongues before I hit head. But so, what do we do, like maybe in schools, to just encourage our children to just keep their cultural identity with their mother tongue?
I'm not sure that it is the responsibility of the school. I think about 10 years ago, I remember being in South Africa, reading a South African newspaper. And I saw there that an experiment was to be embarked upon, where in a particular province, the idea was that they were going to start teaching children from an early age in schools in their mother tongue. And I thought about it. I said, how is this really going to work, you know? And then again, I think a couple of years ago, I started reading about the same kind of initiative in India. And apparently it has been talked about also in Nigeria. Okay, now, if you look at it from an ideological standpoint, it's a beautiful idea. It is a beautiful idea, but how practical is it? In a country like Nigeria, where we have over 500 languages and dialects, which language are you actually going to choose?
In a region even.
Yes. I mean, even if you pick a certain language, a major language in a particular state, how do you guarantee that you have the materials? So you might be able to speak in that language. The teacher might be able to communicate in that language, but where are the materials
in that language?
Where are the books? Where are the
teaching aids, the graphics, the resources?
How do we teach science in Yoruba? Somebody said, how
do you say staphylococcus in Hausa, in Yoruba? And the thing is, our languages are much more descriptive than they are straight to the point. English is a very straight to the point, but our languages describe. Our cultures are very descriptive. So we tell stories in how we speak. How do you say staphylococcus in?
That is the beauty. This aspect that you've just mentioned about the descriptive language. The thing is that in our languages, a lot of the principles, values, ideals that have been passed down through the ages are captured in our folklore. They are captured in our stories. They are captured in our poetry. You know, that sort of thing. Now, if that is missing at home, if you don't have that opportunity, if parents don't have that opportunity, what you will now find is that many of those principles, ideals, etc., get, you know, they get lost. They get swept under the carpet.
Lost in translation.
And then lost in translation. And also lost in transit, because by the time they get to school, now you are expecting that the teacher, whose business it is to teach you English language, French, biology, whatever, you now expect that teacher to add the burden, and I'll call it a burden, the burden of principles, the burden of values. So she hasn't got, or he hasn't got that time either. Those ideals, those principles, they slip through the cracks. And who, at the end of the day, is the loser?
We are. So I want to follow up with this because I've shared a personal experience of how my parents made sure I learned to speak Yoruba when we had traveled. But what we also realize is that with so much, not just Jakpa, the fact that this is a very transient world. Cultures are moving. And you're finding communities of Yoruba, communities of Igbo and Hausa in different parts of the world. But what we also see is that many families are struggling to take their language with them. So the parents will be able to speak, but the children are being raised to speak English and they can't speak. Maybe they can understand in some terms. But we seem to be a society that is very quick to discard our own in acceptance of global norms, in acceptance of globally recognized languages. We want our children to compete. We want them to be able to fit into the global society. And we're hearing that the languages, like 10%, the world's top 10 languages are represented online. That's not Yoruba. That's not Igbo. That's not Hausa. We know it's English. It's going to be Mandarin. It's going to be Spanish. It's going to be French, German. Our languages are not represented. So why do you think we find it so easy to discard our own? We are so quick to open our arms to foreigners, particularly from the West, not even ourselves. Because if you tell a Yoruba family now that their child should learn Igbo or Hausa, many of them will be up in arms, and vice versa. But if you tell them to learn French and German, let's do it.
Languages.
Let's do it.
The thing is that we are living in a global village, and whether you like it or not, we do have to be able to compete globally. You don't want your children to be left behind just because they are being forced, if you like, or well, maybe forced is not the right word, being encouraged to learn and absorb and accept our native languages. It's going to be pretty difficult, I think, because our young people now have a completely different mindset. They look at life from a totally different angle.
Isn't that scary, though?
Well, it's scary, but you see, who is it that is going to make a Gen Z
baddie, like the ones sitting beside you?
Who is going to make Gen Z believe that it is cool? I don't even know if that is the modern term. What's the modern term for cool?
It's given.
It's given.
Yeah,
all right.
it's given.
Okay, fine. So who is going to make Gen Z believe that it is giving?
I love it. She said
it. To speak your native language. So we have social media influencers. If there's a way, perhaps, of gathering some of them, and many of them are young, and letting them know that, look, we know that the world is moving. We know that it's nice to wear clothes that are Western in style. But then there's also something to be said for our own attire, our own fashion, our own style, our own language, etc., etc. What can you do to help us to bring people together so that young people can see the value in having at least a working knowledge of their mother tongue?
I mean, I'm going to quickly ask, two questions in one. And the first one is stemming from what you just said. Looking at the Gen Zs, for example, when you ask them, they'll be like, why do I need to speak my mother tongue? I mean, I know where I'm from. When it's Cultural Day, we dress like that. We know that, I'm from Oshogo, I'm from Ogore, I'm from places like that. So what is the need to add my mother tongue? It's not like I'm going to be speaking it to my business partners. I'm not going to be speaking it to my colleagues and things like that. So I think that for them, they don't exactly understand the reason. Because some people, when they ask, why are we doing this? They'll be like, so if you're in a bus and you want to gossip, you cannot speak. And the reason just doesn't make sense. Like, oh, that's the reason I should learn my language. If that is it, then forget it. Then I think the second one is on the flip side to all these things we're saying, right? I've seen situations, or scratch that. I have a friend who, when he was growing up, he grew up in a rural area. And then they moved to an urban, and from, I think he was 3 years old when they moved, or 5 thereabout, and he was already learning, he was already deep in his language. And when he came to the urban area, everywhere he went to, when they sent him to buy things, oh, Mofera, no, say it in English. Everybody's like, say it in English, say it in English. And then he started feeling embarrassed by his language. And he grew up having that notion that it's embarrassing to speak his language. So now he can't even speak it. So how do we create that balance, making the society encourage you speaking your language and also you learning English? Because even when you go to school, I've seen children trying to communicate in school, with their teachers, and they're like,
not
if you don't say it in English, I won't give you your biscuits.
Schools punish children for speaking vernacular.
So how do we create that balance as well?
I think that we have to go back home again. Back to our families. I think that we have an identity crisis.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for people to understand that you really cannot get to where you're going. In fact, you can't even decide on where you're going if you have no idea where you're coming from. So I think that identity is really, really important. I think if we can cut through all the excuses and cut through all the all the nonsense that is said, and if I look at my personal experience, if you're not careful, you will actually find yourself. You remember I used a word right at the beginning when we started talking. I said I was floating.
Yes.
So it is very easy for people to find themselves in that situation. So I think it is important. The balance that you're talking about has to come from knowing exactly where you come from. And beyond that, sometimes too, we have an issue because people keep on saying they come from this place or that place, this village or that hamlet. Why is it that it's difficult for us to say that we come from Nigeria? So whatever it is that Nigeria means, whatever it is that we can make Nigeria mean, whatever narrative that we can spin that will make a Nigerian have an identity that makes sense to them and makes sense to the rest of the world, I think that's what we should be pushing.
All right, Ms. Oloyede, you're staying with us for Hot Topics, which is going to be very hot. But we cannot let you leave, or we cannot end this conversation on Mother Language Day without putting you on the spot. And I can listen to you speak all day long.
I was hooked. When I heard float, I had to sip my tea.
I can listen to her all day long.
When I heard her say floating, my sister, I floated with my tea.
When I did my introduction, because she was here, I felt like I was doing exam. I needed to hit my syllables.
I was hoping I didn't have to talk. Maybe I don't decide.
You see, the pressure is getting worse. But I don't think many people have heard you speak Pidgin. I don't think many people have even heard you speak Saro Pidgin or Creole because of your West African background, your tapestry of West Africa that runs through your veins.
When you know,
we need to put you on the spot.
Yes.
This is really putting me on the spot.
Be ready. This is that moment.
Wait for it.
Take it in.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So, Creole
Or pigeon.
What is this? Okay, I'll tell you a story. Short story.
In pigeon.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Now, my auntie tell me this. He say, get one bobo, we get na hand. He say, he called that bobo. He say, bobo, tinap na ground. Bobo, you think, say, you tranga? Okay. Hold your ears, so. Hold them well.
Hold your ears.
If I set me eye on you, if I set me mouth on you, Bobo, I know the joke, oh. You go clap with your foot.
Wow.
I love it.
Oh my, that's like
Lolo, if I set me eye on you, Lolo, if I set me
I'll
mouth
be
on you,
clapped down on you with my shoe.
I will tell you. I so much love it.
Oh my God, this is such a beautiful,
It's a
beautiful
rare
thing.
experience.
I am so stoked. I'm so excited. Shebi, you don't hear her today. You know, say, you don't hear our mama, where be our mama, where they teach all about broadcasting. She don't already explain, give us, say, our language, now our identity. So follow your pikin, they talk. When they remember where they from come, so that when they be later, when they grow, they go continue the tradition and they go carry the tradition, give all their family, and that one go, they go. Anyway, okay, make we just rest more, but before we come up for this channel, now here we day. Well, of you no believe say na just serious. And a hot topic now be the next thing. We go die here.
I tell you, baby.
Wow.
I love
That our thing is up and I would expose you, you know that.
So
Anyways, now there is a story I want us to jump into, and I'm glad we still have Mrs. Oloyede here with us, and because of her life experiences, she's going to be sharing with us as well. There is a chaotic situation at home. Now, this particular woman is angry at her husband for spending 30 million Naira of their life savings, not his, theirs, to pay for his 88-year-old mother's surgery. Let's watch the video and then calm down.
Wait.
Close your mouth.
Wait, Catherine, wait. Let's watch it.
Let's watch the video, then we'll get into it.
My husband used our life savings to pay for his mother's cancer surgery.
Life savings.
I am from Nigeria, and I have been married to my husband for 16 years.
Wow.
And we have been together for 23 years. We have 6 children, with our oldest being 15 and our youngest being 1 year old.
She's been grafting, this woman.
We have always dreamed of building our dream home and moving out of the home we rent from my husband's father. We have both worked very hard to save money for this dream home. As for me, I have an Ashwebi business, whilst being a mother and taking care of the home, may I add. Whilst my husband works in IT, sadly, his mother, who is 87, was diagnosed with cancer.
87.
As we don't have insurance, the bill for her operation was 30 million Naira,
Jesus.
which is roughly, I calculated, it's $33,000. We managed to raise the money, and the operation was a success, but with no guarantee the cancer will not return. Unbeknownst to me,
I love that word.
my husband decided to use our life savings to pay for the surgery, and he did not inform me. Of course, I love his mother, but that was our life saving used on someone who doesn't have long to live anyway,
Hey.
and the cancer may return. It's killing me to pretend I'm happy about this. Am I in the wrong?
No, Mrs. Oloyede, Mommy, we're coming to you because you were asking me before. Now you've heard the whole story. They have 6 children. Oldest is 15, youngest is 1. They've been together 23 years, married 16. You said we raised the money. Your mother is 87.
30 million.
30 million, 33,000. There are many, many Americans that are not foreigners that will never see $33,000 in their lifetime.
Die.
Honestly.
Mommy?
Mommy, they think
Honestly,
we can speak this one, but it doesn't have to be English, because I don't think English will wrap this conversation.
No, when I heard it in one ear. That's it was like I didn't really hear.
That's exactly how I feel.
Confused.
Only when I lifted up my eyes onto the hills.
Okay, Catherine,
will
let's
the
wait.
help come?
Mommy.
Will the help come? Okay, so the first mistake was that he did not tell his wife about what he wanted to do. I don't think he had any right to spend that money, not in that way, but to spend that money in any way without discussing with his wife first. That's number one. Number two, let us pray that we never find ourselves in a situation where we actually have to spend every single thing that we have on some kind of medical emergency. Let us pray very hard, because it is a very, very difficult situation to be in. I have been in that situation before, so I know. Now, does anybody have the right to say that because you are 88, you should give up on life? You should give up on life.
You don't have a right to live.
It is only God who can decide when your time is up.
Yeah.
How are we to know, and who is to say that she might not have lived up until 100 or more? My father-in-law died when he was 107 years old. So I'm not sure that anybody has that right to say, because, she's 88, then
her life is done.
Her life is done. She's done enough. Let her go. Now, I think also that I heard about raising funds.
He lied.
Well, I also heard about 6 children and a dream home. Okay, so if you take it step by step, which is more important? The 6 children, looking after them, or the dream home?
The 6 children.
The 6 children, all right. So again, I would say, assuming that he had discussed it with his wife, they could have said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to divide this money.
Yes.
We're going to keep half of it, and the other half we're going to use it to take care of our mother and mother-in-law. But we're also going to go out and see if we can get help.
Yeah.
Additional help, so that the half that we have can be made up by the help that will come in to enable us carry out this operation, this surgery.
Mommy, I have to say something, because I'm sorry.
I'm going to go spiritual.
Me.
I will let you
now.
I'm going to go spiritual. I will let you learn. But I have a spiritual angle.
My angle is there are lots of people who've listened to this story and have said this is ground for divorce. And I'm actually one of them. 23 years together, 23 years of trust broken. We have 6 children. Do you know how expensive it is to send children to school? You have a 15-year-old who's approaching university. I can even leave the dream home. You're actually still in your father-in-law's house renting. So you're paying rent to your father-in-law. He's not letting you live free. Where is the father-in-law in all of this? He no money, Abi, but he's collecting rent for you. So I understand, Mommy, what you're saying, but I feel her anger, the betrayal of trust, the lack of consideration for the family that you have created. And there are many people, I'm probably one of them, who says, you know what, review your options. This could be ground for divorce.
To be honest, as a young person, I'm sorry, this is the reason why I would never subscribe to the idea of having only a joint account. Have your account, I have mine. If we decide to have a joint account where we save together, it's a different thing. But that we're only having one account where all the money is, I can never do that.
No, it's very likely that this savings account is one they don't touch. That it's just, okay, your 15% of your
don't let it go there.
No,
because
hold on.
it's
If they don't
account.
touch, how did he get access?
Both of you can't get access
the
without
agreement would have
Catherine,
been,
don't say
let's
that.
be every month you put this amount in every month, like, but we don't touch it except for emergencies. But both of you are signatories. I want the spiritual angle. What's your spiritual angle?
Well, Lolo was.
You know, I know this thing of,
Uh-huh.
you know, there's so many things that just breaks you on all levels.
Yeah.
Because for her to complain, that means a big lacuna is already
Open in the marriage.
the marriage, and the children will suffer. You couldn't have gotten together and saved that much, and you took a unilateral decision. That is what is wrong. I don't think it's about the life of the mother, because she's like a mom to her too. And they would have pitched in. They could have asked family to, you know, show
The
up where
father-in-law.
they're in deficit
I said
and move. Because this thing that you say is very personal, because I too have gotten through, I've experienced it, that you had, while I was married, we had an account it doesn't use at all. And we saved, then it was that time that investments were all over. And we saved it in that particular account. And
One day, phew.
Catherine, that was the first time I had heart palpitation in my life.
You didn't tell me this.
Because I thought I was going to
I don't
die.
think she told any of us.
I thought I was going to die.
Just serious.
So
Because she
I
thinks
know
about all the work she's done.
I know what
the
she's
sacrifices
feeling.
she's made to put money
Catherine,
in that account.
I
But you know
started-
what? I'm going to take on what you just said.
Because I want mommy to be the last one on this.
Yeah, he took the money without your. You know why they do that? They do that. Men do that because they have the infinite trust in you as a woman that I know my wife. She's gonna hustle the money back. She's a hard worker.
And she's the mother of
That-
6.
Yeah, that is the thought, and she has a thriving Ashwebi business. Now the spiritual angle. Sit down, wait for it. Now the spiritual angle be say this one is not speak. Now I have license because it's what? It's the day, International Day of what? Mother tongue. So I can go any which way I want. And
Please
now
speak what
I'm
you
gonna
understand.
go.
Speak the one that we can understand.
No, I'm gonna go
Shall I go
pigeon.
there?
No way, pigeon. See, where that guy, they program him. His mama don't program him from far. Say anything will happen to him. Anything will happen to him. He go, they know normally do what he's supposed to do. So that guy no send any golden person. He go, they go collect the money, go to him because your mother don't keep on for one calabash somewhere. If you know, you know. You don't keep on somewhere. Maybe say, you know, normally do what he's supposed to do. That's the spiritual angle.
Okay.
I didn't know that your spiritual angle was going to be, you know, under the ground.
Mommy, nowadays.
Mommy, what's your final word on this? It's a hard place.
It is a hard place. In fact, the choice is between a rock and a hard place. Grounds for divorce, possibly.
Mommy's being nice.
Diplomatic.
No, hold on. Because you see, at the end of the day, what is the possibility of her actually doing just what you've said?
Yeah.
What's the possibility of her getting that money back, earning that money? But then, will she wouldn't be stupid enough to put that money in any joint account. In fact, I remember an elderly uncle of mine, before I got married, I remember him saying to me that whatever you do, make sure that you never have a joint account.
Blessings feel like she's
That
been
that came from a man. Yes, I remember it clearly. He said it. He said it.
One sentence, final.
May God help everybody.
Amen. On that note, because whether it's your relationship or how the economy in Nigeria is economy, we all need
I will
help.
pray.
Whatever you believe in it strongly and hold very, very
Joint
dearly
account,
to
no
it.
be love.
Our president's wife said we should pray.
And we'll leave you on a word of prayer. That's it for Jackson today.
Don't use me.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Bim Bo Ol for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. West African time. Be here because we will be here too. Have a good one.